Sir, this funding freeze came as a surprise to many. What are the administration's justifications for taking such an aggressive measure, sir?
Well, I don't really think that this was totally thought through by the administration, particularly the leadership in the White House. Yesterday, in a press conference, the president's press secretary stated that this has been a process that had been vetted by the White House counsel and that it is completely within the president's authority under the U.S. Constitution, which many legal scholars, and in fact, even a judge last night even dictated the fact that it is in fact not in the presidential powers. It is very clear
Sir, I
that
don't mean
Congress.
to interrupt you here in this context, but what do you think is the future between the judges and U.S. President Donald Trump, sir?
Well, I mean,
How do you
this is a
read
very
it, your narrative, your take, sir?
well. My narrative is that the fact that the judges are going to and are tasked with enforcing the letter of the law. They are the voice of the law and how the Constitution rules government. Is there going to be tension? That's part of the reason why we have three equal co-branches of government. The judicial is independent of the executive and the legislative. They'll probably going to go all the way to the Supreme Court, and or affect healthcare. Understanding that is being put out by the White House, and my understanding after reading the bulletin put out by the Office of Management and Budget, basically says that individual programs that are designed to go directly to individual citizens will not. That means food stamp programs, Medicare, Medicaid, which was a question because yesterday after the announcement, Medicaid portal in Medicare. So Medicare is primarily designed as a supplement to your Social Security benefits. Medicare is designed for retirees to gain medical insurance coverage provided by the U.S. government in their later age. And I'm being very general here. I don't want to get too far
I
into the
don't want you,
depths of
sir,
it.
to get too far. Don't worry about it. I just wanted to understand the difference between Medicaid and Medicaid.
Yeah, and Medicaid is more of a low income, those in need medical provided service by the federal government.
And it's a free
Those
service, sir.
it is a free or federally subsidized service to those Americans that qualify for that program. That is the big difference. But however, both of those are run by the Department of Health and Human Services and the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services, and those will not be affected by the halt of this. The halt is basically going to be for larger grant programs, like the Department of Justice, Office of Justice program grants that go to police departments, fire departments, Department of Education grants that go to local school districts. This also includes, arguably, FEMA grants and FEMA federal aid support to disaster zones and disaster areas like Los Angeles after the wildfires and North Carolina after the recent hurricanes that affected the western part of the state. That is a big political third rail that President Trump
True,
is playing
sir.
with. I don't think, again, this was a very well thought out strategy or release. I do believe that they are testing the waters to see how far they can push the envelope for their executive branch powers.
Why don't they stay focused on such an natural disaster and catastrophe like the wildfires that took place in Los Angeles and the people that are in real, of course, danger and focusing on education and health care, which is very important, of course. It's what do you think, sir? Is this supposed to be the time that we should be focusing, or the United States president should be focusing on this now at this point and leaving such an enormous disaster like the wildfires in Los Angeles and California?
Well, I mean, in reality, in the first 100 days of a new presidency, normally
I was
we
asking you
would.
about the first 6 days, sir. I was not asking about the 100 days.
Let me put it in perspective, though. Normally, in the first 100 days, a president will normally try and test drive potential policies that will move forward and drive the rest of his term in office. What we're seeing, because again, we're dealing with Donald Trump, and that nothing with Donald Trump is normal. What we're seeing is Donald Trump politicizing topics that normally would not be politicized. If you look at when he was talking and visiting North Carolina last week, and then also talking about and visiting Los Angeles, when he talked about North Carolina, that is a very red pro-Trump state. His message was, we need to get federal funds and we need to do everything in the federal government's power to get this fixed, and we will support you. We have your back. When he talked to the folks in Los Angeles or talked about disaster relief for the wildfires in the Los Angeles County area, he basically said, yeah, we can do that, but we're going to put terms and conditions on it. And basically what he's doing is he's politicizing disaster relief.
Exactly,
Disaster
sir.
relief.
Mr. Johnson, I just don't want to really end this with you, but before I end it in 10 seconds, because I have to wrap up this episode now, sir, education programs, infrastructure projects, legal challenges against this freeze are moving quickly. And how strong are the arguments against the administration, and what outcomes can we expect, sir, in 10 seconds?
It's going to be sorted out in the courts. The courts are going to determine
The
the
court, sir.
legality.
So we're going to go back to the court, and the court is going to go back to the United States president and tell him, no, it's not going to take place.
That's the courts will sort this out.
The court, you don't know it's a yes or a no, but the court is and the judges are the one that are going to be sorting it out.
Correct.